Cinema Trailer News. My name is Chris, and this will be my review for the season finale of House of the Dragon. There will be spoilers in this video, so we're going to talk about all the crazy things that happen in the season finale. And now I want to begin with some spoiler-free thoughts. Now, if you compare Game of Thrones Season 1 to House of the Dragon Season 1, while the hype levels were obviously a lot bigger coming into House of the Dragon because Game of Thrones was such a success during the last season. Also, I believe House of the Dragon is stronger. Now that may sound blasphemy, but we're only comparing the first season of both shows. Not only was the season able to successfully accomplish the idea of time jumps, often in shows like this you get attached to characters or version specific of characters. In this case, Rhaenyra, I thought was incredible, Alicent, and you were hooked on that storyline, that relationship. But a lot of it came with the chemistry of the two actors, and the performances were really good. But the time jumps was something that I got used to every single episode. Within like the 5 minutes in, you have a other version of said character, and even talking about the fact that every time you see Paddy Considine in each episode as King Viserys, something has changed drastically about his face. And of course, you get to the final episode where he's missing an eye, and the effects were great on him all the way around, especially on a practical side of things. You can tell they use a bit of CGI in his face, but overall in this show, they're taking the visual effects. You can tell they swing so much money on each episode because the dragons, the battle with the dragons in the finale specifically, we'll get into this crazy scene, but one of the best scenes of the entire show. It looks monumental. Right where we watching Game of Thrones the entire time, it felt like we waiting on the dragons to show up to get those pivotal moments, and those pivotal moments come in this series within the first episode, but we don't get a lot of action from that, and that's okay because anytime the dragons are on screen you can feel the greatness, the epicness, especially within the final few episodes. I think of the scene where Daemon's wife decides to die, a dragon rider's death, and that scene being so visceral, but it looks so incredible. And anytime we get a death in this show, we always take time to mourn, and we always take time to think about the decisions and the consequences of the actions. And this show wasn't afraid to take its time all the way around with those characters, the dynamics. Again, I go back to Rhaenyra and Alicent, how we started versus how we finish. It's crazy that they had me every step of the way. It made me believe the camaraderie between the two, and then the follow between the two. So it's so real, and you get that. That's the beauty of a television show. You able to build that up, but it's the result of the brilliant writing. And I thought the screenplay in for House of the Dragon Season 1 was so good. You think probably everybody's favorite character at a point, Prince Daemon Targaryen, and oh my god, he's so good. But you think of his distinct path at the beginning of the show, and then we're talking about the opposition. There's not necessary where we ended up. This wasn't going to go in the way it was building up to at the beginning of the season, but because it's like how we get and how they get there, and how will this person become king. So we knew something bad had to happen, but as we building up, and now we getting into some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the show, it's perfect time to turn away. As we build to the point of episodes 8 and 9 where a king is there, and kind of the glue that kept the realm intact It's gone. So now we have the tension between this entire family, and it's night that we get that scene where they all gather around at the dinner table and they stand out and they say really nice things to each other. But you know that the kids, they are young adults at this point, they still hated each other. And that's very evident and obvious. And all I bash boy walking around getting her his niece, son, or Ryle, and they always been kind of a catalyst to set these kids off. And I always been on the side of Rhaenyra's case, but they don't get along, and you can tell, and they're never going to get along. So that's already another example of the tension that it can even be resolved with Allison and Rhaenyra, saying very nice things about each other in the dinner table. But when Viserys died and tells the story of Egon to Allison, she doesn't understand that he's not talking about her son. Therefore, she has the idea planted in her head. And honestly, who can blame her? Her is still not right what she's doing, but who can blame the decision making there, because she's so dead on set on everything going her way regardless. And then her father, Sir Otto Hightower, in her ear, has always been in her ear telling her things, and she's convinced that Egon is to become king, and it's just all kind falls on his shoulder, and he's not ready for the amount of power. Clearly, a little trip, whatever, why is busting in and making her presence on the dragon. And that's where the episode ends, but we pick up in the finale, episode 10. We going over to Rhaenyra's side of things and letting her and Damon know that now, hey, they're not only coming for you, they have gotten a king. But is the king that they weren't supposed to crown. So we have a very distinct side at this point. There's no compromise, there's no turning the Damon that he can't go back, because Damon is ready for a war and he's trying to take a point as Rhaenyra is struggling with her birth child. And while we get into that in just a second, maybe just one of as visceral, if not more visceral than the birth scene in the first episode. My god, it was tragic. It was heartbreaking, but Damon is trying to scheme and plan this war. Whenever tells her son, hey, go out there, tell him that I'm still in charge, and everyone understand this. And she's still in charge here in that scene. And where they crown her as queen is one of those really quiet, incredible moments where you just sit back and watch all the grand scope show at work. And it's one of my favorite moments of the episode, because you understand she's a born leader. And even when Damon is trying to take point, when she's her worst and the most pain she probably ever been in her life, she still comes back. She takes the crown, she becomes queen, and that was an amazing scene. But talking about her weakest, not only that they show her struggling to get the baby out by herself, knowing and understanding that the baby isn't going to make it, not wanting help from everyone. They show us, I mean, from the blood coming out to the actual, it's heartbreaking to watch a scene like that. And I watched that, and it hit a certain core within me. It made me very uncomfortable, but it was the most heartbreaking thing I saw in this show. And to feel the pain that she was in that moment is an understatement. That was a testament to her performance as a whole. Absolutely incredible. And I was nervous when they were replaced, because like the young actress that played Rhaenyra, But I like her a lot. But that for me in this final episode was the moment where I say, "Oh my God!" I mean, one of the best performances in the Game of Thrones universe ever, and that was the key scene. So yes, the Greens have grammars, the Iron Throne, and there is the belief on this side of things that Viserys were actually slain. So this entire process was spit out. But whenever she's now on her own, clearly she has demon and everyone that bows to her, she becomes queen, Lord Costless. And so there's a lot of people that are willing to fight for her. Now everyone at King's Landing they watched the king crowded, and that was for a reason. There was a purpose behind that to get them to believe that he was the rightful heir. And then you have Rhaenyra's younger son at this point, young Prince Luke, who is going around trying to convince people to side with his mother. And then the other side of things, if you have Aemon who still despises Luke for losing his eye. Now, clearly there's a rage and fury there, and that we see play out in the next couple of scenes. And at the point to where Luke has to run and jump into the dragon to escape. And this is when I started to feel that something bad was going to happen. But honestly, I didn't know which one it was going to happen. Made more sense for Luke to die in this moment because this could set off a chain of events that could send Rhaenyra down an even darker path, and that she already was on. But I didn't know if they actually fully commit to Luke being the one to die in this battle, even though he's just trying to escape on a dragon from Aemon. It's just it's so clearly the first, but these dragons in the air, the visual effects are outstanding. Now, this was a scene to where I was at the edge of my seat because one of you can feel Aemon's rage, and I mean it's been there since that moment happened. By the way, and I felt that he deserves it. If you okay, you're going to bully your cousin and nephew, like you will lose an eye, and that goes. And he takes on another level, just kills Luke. I mean, straight up, I didn't think it was going to happen in that moment specifically. I think part of this was the dragon was sensing Aemon's rage, and he was unable to counter that. So when you feel that you have no choice but to go and attack the other dragon, unfortunately Luke being there not only attack, but it just picks right off in half. My jaw was on the floor in that moment. There's so much within the characteristic of both characters that play up to this point, to where I wonder even more between. But because this moment was so fascinating to see how it play out, and the dragons are only good or bad as those riding them, and so when the emotions are over the place, they're going to become even more confrontation than they already are. But my God, what a scene where Renee learns that her son is dead. The slow tone, the camera angle of her face, the rage you can feel after going there, and it just began to turn in her head, and being surrounded by those who are so faithful, but also Daemon who is willing to do whatever it takes to win this war. The confrontation between these two sides is something that I'm celebrating on the fact on that we have to wait 2 more years for season 2, and I can't do it now. House of the Dragon season 1 is incredible. The character depth is excellent. The visual effects are top notch, and it leaves you wanting more. And I just Can't wait for season 2. It's going to be incredible. And this is by far one of the best shows of this year. Such incredible from start to finish. So that's my review on the season finale of House of the Dragon. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, consider subscribe to the channel, and like always, thank you so much for watching. See you guys later.